I'm Tommy Carroll, True Rock 1039, The Bear, backstage at Rock on the Range. Got Lzzy here from Halestorm. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for having me. Anyway, tables have turned. I've seen you guys many times, but you're usually open up the show. But you guys got a headlining tour coming up. Tell us a little bit about that. And you're excited.
I'm so excited. I mean, we're rotating on this headlining tour. We're touring with Burn Halo and the Veer Union, and it's going to be all over. And we get to play, a little bit more than 5 songs this time. So
all right.
it's cool. I mean, we're getting an incredible response from the road. It's just, it's completely been non-stop since we released the record. So, no sleep till platinum is what we've been saying. So, and then no sleep. So,
I have to ask, tell us about the song "I Get Off."
Oh, everyone has to ask that. No, well, it's definitely an edgier single, I should say. The actual inspiration for the song was a live show. We, if I dare say, we have a very intimate relationship with our fans. So that whole give and take kind of love we make was actually inspired by you guys. But when writing the record, I kind of discovered that I could walk the line pretty well with that. So it's funny because it's a sexy song. Most guys, such as yourself probably, take it in the literal sense as in like sex, sex is awesome. And then a lot of the girls take it from a more empowerment standpoint, since there hasn't been a girl that actually has said that in a long time. So it's kind of a shocker. But I mean, I'm a huge fan of Alice Cooper and a lot of those the shock rockers from back in the day. As far as like they walked the line very well, and so I felt good about doing that on this record.
Okay, for those who haven't YouTubed the band yet or seen the band yet, could you tell them, if for a first-time experience, can you walk through what they're going to experience when they see Halestorm perform?
Okay, so almost always there's a lot of sweat, sometimes some blood, but I guarantee you that we like to put you in the position of power, as in, if you don't walk away feeling like a bigger rock star than what you just saw, then we did not do our job. So, I mean, I've been telling people, Halestorm is kind of like biting into a big juicy steak, It's like there's nothing tofu about Halestorm at all. So, in fact, one of the biggest compliments that we've gotten so far on this tour is that we're definitely not tampon rock. But,
Tampon rock. I got a new term to use now. Now, the women in rock, you find it hard out there? Are people being receptive? I know, you hear there'll be like 10 or different bands that have female fronting the bands, but usually only 1 or 2 seem to rise to the top. How do you feel about it, and how do you approach that, being one of the new women in rock? And you guys are second or third album now, right?
Well, it's actually, I mean, we've had a couple albums over the years on our own, but this is the first big push. Right after we got signed, we went out on a 5-song EP and kind of let that settle in a little bit, and now, so this one is the big record. Okay. But yeah, I mean, as far as being a girl in rock and roll, I mean, there's always stuff that happens at gigs, because almost always you get misconstrued as either the merch girl or the girlfriend, or like, who are you dating? The groupie, almost always. One particular time was actually, this was actually quite funny. I was changing the strings on my Les Paul, and one of the stagehands comes up to me, he's like, "Oh, my girlfriend never does that for me." So, I mean, I didn't correct him, he didn't know I was in the band. And you kind of use that as an element of surprise, because then you come out and you're fronting a rock band, and right after the show he came up to me and he's like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." But like over the years we kind of learned to use that in a positive light, and because I really don't blame anybody for not knowing I'm in a band or assuming that I'm a girlfriend or whatever, because there's so few of us out there, and I mean, almost always I'm the only girl on the bill, which is funny because after a while you don't think about it, and then you look around, you're like, yeah, I'm the only girl here. This is it's a little scary. But I mean, I live with 3 boys on an RV, and so I mean, the first thing you got to learn being a girl in rock and roll is that almost everything can be a sexual innuendo. Absolutely anything. And as long as you can handle all the fart jokes and everything, we're good. We're golden. Right. So.
Okay, now going way back before Halestorm, Everybody has a first band. What was the name of your first band? Come on, let's hear it.
Well, this is okay, but this is still is terrible. My first band was when I was 13 years old, and it was actually this one. So.
Really?
I founded this band when I was 13, a little over 10 years ago, and so yeah, and it's with my little brother's in the band, so he was 10 at the moment when we started this band. We named it Halestorm and just kept plugging away. So technically, this was my first band. I just am crazy enough to still be in it. So
now, just so you know, you just pissed off all the local bands out there who's been in like 8 or 9 of them already. Well, hey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out. Best wishes tonight and your show today, and at Rock on the Range and your tour and everything else.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Thank you.
I'm Tommy with Liz from Halestorm at RealRock1039thebear.com, baby.